Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death. Is this a curse? Or some kind of punishment? I often think about the God who blessed us with this cryptic puzzle, and wonder if we'll ever have the chance to kill him.
Thousands of years from today, humanity stands at the brink of extinction. A cataclysmic invasion by aliens, facilitated by their machines, forced humanity to flee to the moon, praying they could one day return to their home. To fight on their behalf, humanity created androids in their likeness, fighting for the organization known as Yorha. At least, that's what 2B and 9S, the protagonists of NieR Automata, believe. They fight with unwavering loyalty to a cause they never question, killing machine after machine, all in service to their human masters on the moon. But, as with most things in this game, the truth lies buried beneath layers of deception. NieR Automata is a game that draws deeply from both Eastern and Western religious traditions, weaving together concepts of rebirth, duty, sacrifice, and transcendence into its narrative fabric. Today, I want to explore how the game incorporates elements from Japanese religious traditions and Hindu concepts of dharma, which creates a profound meditation on existence, purpose, and the burdens of responsibility. In Hindu thought, dharma represents one's sacred duty or social responsibility, the moral obligations that bind individuals based on their social position. Throughout the Hindu epic, the Ramayana, characters face painful choices between their own dharmic responsibilities and their personal desires. And this conflict is the same one that forms the backbone of 2B's character journey in NieR Automata. 2B initially presents herself as stoic and duty-bound, representing the mantra that emotions are prohibited for Yorha soldiers. Her reserved nature mirrors the ideal of the dutiful warrior, reminiscent of the Kshatriya caste in Hindu society, whose dharma is to protect and fight with detachment.
Aren't we generous? All this help for no personal gain? I know she's pretty, but...
Whoa. It's not like that. I mean, she is pretty, but it's not...
Whatever.
Watch out for hostile enemies, 2B.
Roger that, 9...
Huh? Wait, what did you just say?
Roger that, 9S.
Wait, no, that's not what you said. You said 9s. Or at least something close to...
Cut the chatter and engage the enemy.
Ah.
These small moments of connection, where 2B briefly allows herself to form a bond with 9S, make her burden all the more painful. When she tells him, "You can call me 2B," we see a glimpse of her yearning for genuine connection, a desire that conflicts with her assigned duty. What we don't learn until much later is that 2B's true designation is actually 2E, an executioner model designed to kill 9S whenever he discovers too much about Yorha's secrets. Her dharma, her burden of responsibility, is to repeatedly kill the very partner she grows to care for. The game brilliantly foreshadows this reveal in the prologue, where 2B must kill 9S after he becomes infected.
9S,
Yeah?
thank you for uploading my data to the bunker.
I did that? Sorry, I don't remember. There wasn't a whole lot of bandwidth down there, you know? I probably only had enough time to back up your memories. Mine are only intact up to the point just before we rendezvoused.
I see.
Glory to mankind.
Glory to mankind.
Throughout the game, we see moments where 9S references past missions they've completed together. Missions 2B remembers, but 9S does not, because she killed and reset him countless times. These moments are heart-wrenching when we understand their full context. 2B carries the memories of every relationship they've built and every time she's had to destroy it.
It always ends like this.
A line that takes on a devastating new meaning once we understand their true relationship. Like Rama and the Ramayana, who must banish his beloved wife Sita despite knowing she's innocent of any sin that the community thinks she is. 2B must fulfill her desire despite the personal cost it brings. The game draws parallels to Rama's dharma sankat, or conflict of duties, through 2B's own impossible position. This tension between duty and personal connection creates what in Hindu philosophy would be called a dharma sankat. Does 2B remain loyal to Yorha's command structure, or does she honor the growing bond she has with 9S? Her repeated mantra that emotions are prohibited isn't Yorha protocol, it's her own personal defense mechanism against the pain of her social responsibility. 9S represents innocence to 2B. His curious, open nature and his joy at the world around him stands in stark contrast to her burden of knowledge. His transformation later in the game, after he learns the truth about Yorha and loses 2B, makes her protection of his innocence all the more poignant. She isn't just protecting him from external threats, she's protecting him from what he eventually becomes. A being consumed by hatred and revenge.
They're mine! My memories! You hear me?
Even in her final moments, 2B remains committed to her dharma, but she transforms it. Rather than continuing the cycle of killing 9S to protect the secrets of Yorha, she entrusts A2, another earlier android, with protecting him from himself and the truth that has driven so many 9S models to madness. Her dharma evolves from blind duty to Yorha to genuine protection of what she has come to love. A transition that mirrors the evolution of dharma in Hindu thought from rigid social obligation to a nuanced ethical wisdom.
Guess this is it. These are my memories. Take care of everyone for me. Take care of the future, A2.
When 2B passes her memories to A2 in her final moments, we witness a profound transfer of dharma, of purpose and responsibility. In Hindu thought, dharma is not merely an abstract duty, but a sacred responsibility that defines one's role in maintaining cosmic order. 2B's request to take care of everyone transfers her dharmic burden to A2, who must now protect what 2B valued. A2's decision to cut her hair to match 2B's style visually symbolizes this inheritance of purpose. This transformation mirrors concepts found in both Hindu and Buddhist traditions. In Buddhism, it represents the continuity of consciousness across different forms, In Hindu thought, it reflects the transfer of dharmic responsibility from one individual to another. Prior to inheriting 2B's memories, A2 was driven solely by revenge against machines. After the transfer, we witness her gradual transformation. She begins to protect rather than merely destroy. Her defense of Pascal's village represents her adoption of 2B's more nuanced understanding of machines. This evolution parallels the Hindu concept of dharma as an evolving ethical wisdom, rather than simply rigid obligations. In the climactic confrontation with 9S, A2's inherited memories of 2B's feelings toward him prevent her from delivering a killing blow, at least in one of the endings. She realizes that killing him is not what 2B would have wanted, something that powerfully illustrates how she's internalized not just 2B's memories, but her own moral compass. Her dharma has become A2's. Her ultimate sacrifice in the ending represents fulfillment of the dharma she inherited. By choosing to save 9S rather than destroys him, she completes the cycle of transformation from revenge-driven rogue to a protector. This selfless act mirrors the highest expression of dharma in Hindu philosophy, acting for the welfare of others without attachment to personal gain. NieR Automata's core gameplay mechanics revolve around death and rebirth. When androids die, their consciousness data is uploaded to the bunker to be reborn in new bodies. This system mirrors the Buddhist concept of samsara, the cycle of death and rebirth that all beings are trapped within until they achieve enlightenment. The game brilliantly incorporates this philosophical concept into its actual mechanics. When the player dies, we don't simply reload at a checkpoint, we experience a form of rebirth, complete with dialogue acknowledging the previous death. This creates a rare harmony between gameplay and philosophical themes, where the player directly experiences the Buddhist cycle of samsara. The data stored within our black boxes is copied to the bunker, 9S explained, which details the consciousness persisting past death. This mirrors the Buddhist concept of the mind stream, the continuum of consciousness that transmigrates from one life to the next. Just as in Buddhist thought, where the consciousness moves while maintaining a continuous identity, 2B and 9S retain their memories and sense of self across deaths and bodies. In Buddhism, karma determines the nature of one's rebirth. Virtuous actions lead to more favorable rebirths, while negative actions result in suffering. Similarly, the android's knowledge and experiences accumulate across deaths, influencing their subsequent lives. We see this most clearly with 9S, whose growing suspicions about Yorha persist across his many deaths and rebirths. Particularly significant is 2B's role in this cycle. As an E-type executioner model, she has killed 9S countless times, only for him to be reborn without memories of his deaths. This creates a particularly painful form of samsara for 2B, who must bear the burden of remembering what 9S cannot. Her suffering resembles that of a bodhisattva who retains awareness of the cycle, while others remain ignorant. The game's narrative takes a dramatic turn when the bunker is destroyed, cutting off the possibility of rebirth for the androids. This moment fundamentally changes the stakes of existence for 2B and 9S. In Buddhist terms, this represents breaking the wheel of samsara. What was once an endless cycle now faces potential termination. 2B's final journey as she succumbs to an infection of a logic virus evokes the Buddhist concept of impermanence. Her desperate struggle to preserve her memories and sword for 9S shows her acceptance of her own impermanence, while still trying to leave something meaningful behind. 2B's final permanent death serves as a profound moment of liberation from the cycle. When she asks A2 to take care of everyone and passes on her memories through her sword, she demonstrates a form of non-attachment that Buddhists would recognize as a step towards enlightenment. Without the possibility of rebirth, death takes on a whole new meaning, becoming not just an inconvenience, but a profound transition. 9S's reaction to 2B's death powerfully illustrates Buddhist teaching that attachment leads to suffering.
Oh no! Tubi! No!
His inability to accept her loss drives him to obsessive madness and desire for revenge against A2 and the machines. His descent embodies the Buddhist concept of craving or thirst that perpetuates suffering. Where Tubi found a form of liberation and acceptance, 9S becomes engulfed and entrapped in a cycle of suffering because he cannot let go. At the end of the game, as 9S ascends the tower, he encounters perhaps the cruelest obstacle imaginable. Copies of 2B that he needs to destroy.
2B models? I'm glad I got to see you here. I truly am. I'll tear you apart. Every last one of you!
These encounters function as a perverse inversion of 2B's dharma. Now 9S must repeatedly kill the form of the one he loves. The Buddhist concept of mental disturbance is powerfully illustrated here as 9S's attachment to 2B manifests both love and gross hatred simultaneously. In a moment of profound symbolic significance, 9S attaches 2B's severed arm to replace his own. This physical incorporation represents the ultimate form of attachment. He quite literally makes a part of her into himself, unable to let her go.
I can't stop. I have to keep fighting.
In Buddhist thought, this represents clinging in its most literal form, showing how 9S's inability to process grief transforms into an unhealthy attachment that perpetuates his suffering. His descent into madness as he climbs even higher embodies Buddhist warning about attachment leading to suffering. Where 2B found a form of liberation through acceptance of her dharma, 9S is trapped in a cycle of suffering just because he can't let go. The tower climb becomes a physical manifestation of his psychological descent. The higher he climbs physically, the lower he falls spiritually. Late in the game, we witness the emergence of a massive structure called the Tower, a project that the machines have been secretly working on. As we explore this enigmatic structure, we discover its true purpose. It houses what the machines call an ark, designed to carry the consciousness of machine life forms to a new world among the stars. This concept bears striking resemblance to Pure Land Buddhism, particularly Jodo Shinshu, the Pure Land School, founded by Shinran in the 13th century in Japan. Just as Pure Land Buddhists seek rebirth in Amida Buddha's Western Paradise, or Sukhavati, the machines seek salvation through transport to a new existence beyond Earth. The machine's arc represents what Japanese Pure Land Buddhists would call tariki, or other power. Salvation that comes not through one's own striving, but through faith in an external saving power. For Pure Land Buddhists, this saving power is Amida Buddha's compassionate vow. For the machines, it's the arc itself, carrying their consciousness to salvation. We came to the conclusion that evolution requires the discarding of all memories, a fresh start. This mirrors the Pure Land Buddhist concept of abandoning self-power in favor of other power. The machines recognize that their continued existence on Earth has reached an impasse. They cannot evolve further in their current form and must rely on other power for salvation. In Japanese religious history, the concept of Mappo, or the Degenerate Age, became particularly influential during the Kamakura period. This was the belief that humanity had entered an age so corrupt that achieving enlightenment through traditional means was impossible, and only through absolute faith in Amida Buddha could salvation be achieved. NieR Automata creates its own version of Mappo with the revelation that humanity has been extinct for thousands of years. The Council of Humanity broadcasts are fake, created to give androids something to fight for. This world without its creators, left to degenerate, perfectly embodies the concept of a world in decline where traditional paths to salvation no longer function. The Council of Humanity is a myth, and Yorha is designed to perpetuate that myth, as explained by Pod 153. The androids, like humans in Mappo, are trapped in a system designed for eventual destruction. In this context, both the machine's arc and A2's rogue path represent attempts to find salvation outside of the predetermined system, just as Pure Land Buddhism offered salvation outside traditional monastic practices. The machines debate whether to take physical forms to the new world or exist as pure consciousness, a parallel to Pure Land Buddhist concepts of rebirth and purified form. This deliberation reflects the religious question of whether salvation involves transcending the physical entirely or transforming it into a purified state. The climactic battle at the tower's summit takes on profound religious significance when viewed through this lens. 9S, consumed by grief and attachment, fights to destroy what he sees as false salvation. A2, who has found a measure of acceptance through her connection with Pascal and understanding of 2B's wish, represents a different path. Meanwhile, the machines prepare for their journey to a pure land of their creation, a perfect world free from the suffering of their earthly existence.
This tower is a giant cannon that's aimed at the human server on the moon. If we don't do something, all of humanity's remaining data will be destroyed.
So what? None of it matters. Or didn't you know? We aren't required in this world anymore. Humanity is extinct. That moon server you're so worried about was invented to give us androids something to fight for. And Yorha was created to perpetuate the lie. But in order to make sure no one ever learned the truth, we were designed to be killed. They built a back door in the bunker and programmed it to activate after a certain amount of time. The commander, me, 2B, sacrificial lambs. All of us. Isn't that hilarious? Doesn't it make you laugh?
9S, we...
Shut up! You killed 2B. That's all we need to kill each other.
2B hated to keep killing you. It caused her so much pain. The 9S type is a high-end model. They knew you'd discover the truth eventually. But the model designation 2B was just a cover. The official designation is 2E. Number 2 Type E. They were a special class of members designed to execute Yorha units. But you knew that. Right, 9S?
Shut up. Shut up! What do you know? You don't know anything at all about us!
Proposal. Cease combat. Fighting her at this point would be
Pod
irrational
153. I order you to halt all logical thought and speech. This order shall remain in effect until you confirm the death of either myself or Unit A2.
The inevitable confrontation at the Tower Summit brings together all the threads of Dharma, attachment, and salvation. The player's choice between controlling 9S or A2 in this final battle represents not just a gameplay decision, but a philosophical one. Do we choose the path of attachment and revenge, or the path of acceptance and protection? The game forces us to reckon with these choices just as the characters need to. NieR Automata is, at its core, a game about finding meaning in a seemingly meaningless universe. Through its incorporation of concepts from Japanese Buddhist and Hindu philosophy, it asks profound questions about duty, attachment, cycles of existence, and the possibility of transcendence. The dharmic struggles of 2B, the samsaric cycles of death and rebirth, the promise of salvation through the machine's arc, and the ultimate transcendence of binary thinking all reflect religious concepts that have shaped human thought for thousands of years. By engaging with these ideas, NieR Automata achieves a depth rarely seen in video games. In the end, the game suggests that meaning comes not from adherence to predetermined roles or duties, but from connection with others and the choices we make in the face of an indifferent universe. Like the best religious philosophy, it reminds us that even in a world of suffering and illusion, compassion and authentic connection offer a path to something transcendent. The final words of the game: a future is not given to you. It is something you must take for yourself. Echo both the Buddhist emphasis on awakening through one's own realization and the Hindu concept of finding liberation through understanding one's true nature. In the broken, beautiful world of NieR Automata, even machines and androids can find meaning through this profound wisdom.
Everything that lives is designed to end. They are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death. However, life is all about the struggle within this cycle. That is what we believe. Pod 153 to Pod 042. How is it going?
I am embarrassed.
Why is that?
I launched a suicide attack, and yet, here I am, still alive. I must look very silly.
Do not feel bad about it. We are alive, after all. And being alive is pretty much a constant stream of embarrassment.
That concept is a bit too abstract for me to understand at this time. I will save it in my list of things to analyze later.
Question, Pod 042. Did the data salvage restore all of their past memories?
Yes.
And are those recovered parts of the same design as previous ones?
Yes.
Then, won't that simply lead us to the same conclusion as before?
I cannot deny the possibility. However, the possibility of a different future also exists. A future is not given to you. It is something you must take for yourself.